What the f?
$170 on the mile. 25 ago, 24, 13, 2, 21, 2 ball. 2 ball, 2 ball. 1980, 70, 16, 5, 126 on the mile.
Here you go, Max.
3 on the round. 3 on the 3 on the 3 on the 4. 3 on the 3, 29, 3 on the 3 on the 3 on the 4, 3 on the 1. 3 on the 3 and a quarter, 315.
Here we go.
126.
You're out.
350, 325 once, 325 twice, 350, 375, sir. 375, 351,
Worth that.
350 twice, sold, 350.
All right, so I'm here now at the Crown Vic. We're gonna go ahead and see if it starts. I know it needs a tire. I'm hoping the spare is in the back. Gotta find all that out right now. Damage back here, probably from the blowout. Nice. Didn't pay for the extra bumper damage there, but I guess I get it anyway. See if the battery's any good. Okay, we got that going at least. And as I expected, dealer maintained. This is a one-owner Crown Vic with 126,000 miles. Brakes feel good. Gotta wonder if they just blew out the tire and donated it. As crazy as that would be. You can see it's got a June of 2019 sticker. I'm gonna pull it up just enough that I can get into the trunk. Seems to run fine, that's great. Heat works. No sense running it for nothing. I'm gonna check the trunk and see if we have a spare. Well, good news, we do have a spare. And if we don't have a jack, I have one in the Escalade, the factory one. Well, I think I do see the jack kit in here. I'd imagine it would be, and the spare is inflated. So I'm gonna go ahead and jack her up, throw the spare on, and get ready to get this thing out of here. All right, so Lawrence has joined us again from the famous Metro video. We came back, I brought a jack, and also brought the breaker bar, whatever it is, to get the lug nuts off. So put the spare on, it was a little bit low, so I'm just adding some air to it, and we're just in time. They're closing the gate here in a few minutes, so once I get some air in this, we're gonna roll out of here and we'll see how she does on the way home. All right, so here we are in the Crown Vic. This thing drives like a brand new car. And to think I was able to get it so cheap, $350 winning bid, that's just a seatbelt. After fees and the title, my grand total on this car is $500 even out the door. How do you go wrong? This thing is awesome. 126,000 miles, one owner, and it's got leather, which is, I mean, I wouldn't say it's rare in a Crown Vic, but you certainly find more of a cloth. The suspension feels great. There's clearly no damage from that tire having blown out in the back. The spare tire, so far, it's been a few miles now, it's holding up. No check engine lights, no misfires. I haven't gone really hard on it because, you know, obviously that spare tire is in the back. But the transmission shifts right into gear. I don't even feel it shift. It's perfectly smooth. And it's not uncommon for these older Crown Vics to develop misfires, typically from the heater hose nipple at the back of the intake manifold. Since this is a 2004, this may already have the redesigned intake manifold. If it doesn't, and it's a plastic one, what typically happens is the heater hose nipple on the back of the intake manifold, it'll crack and coolant will leak down into cylinder 4, and it'll cause it to start misfiring. And this is not misfiring at all. I've owned a few of these cars in my day, and almost every single one of them has had that problem, which is a pretty easy fix. I actually have a YouTube video on how to fix that cheap. I haven't even checked that yet. I haven't even opened the hood on this car. It started right up. I saw it open at the auction, obviously, for a brief moment. It ran nice and quiet. The oil change is recent, and it's still under the mileage. And it was done at the Ford dealer, so I assume that the oil's probably fine. I did see the coolant was full as it drove through the auction, and sure enough, it's giving me no issues. Heat works, no blend door issues. Another typical issue in these with the electronic climate control. So I'm very happy. This was a total spur of the moment purchase. I had this kind of on my radar today, but usually the Crown Vics bring a lot more money at the auction. Didn't think this car would go that cheap. The last one they had sold for over $1,000 and had fewer miles than this one, but it really wasn't much nicer at all. And it was a 98. So I stole this thing today. I think a lot of people were turned off by the tire. Maybe they thought, oh, I can't drive it home now. I'm gonna have to arrange for a tow. A lot of people come, and if they can't drive it right out of there, they won't even bid on it. So it was just as simple as opening the trunk. Spare tire was right there. The car was missing the jack, but I had to go home anyway and drop my Escalade off, have Lawrence pick me up in his. I just grabbed my Fusion's jack, and sure enough, that worked fine. And I think I pulled the lug nut thing out of my Navigator, and that worked. So everything worked out. Heading back now. I'll update you guys later on. I don't think it's going to be as soon as I get the car home. Lawrence and I are starving. We're going to go grab a bite to eat, but I'll definitely give an update later on. All right, guys, so it's the next day after I bought the Crown Vic. Cosmetically, it's not perfect, but it certainly isn't bad either. The clear coat on the hood is starting to fade in this area. I could put a different hood on it if I found the same color hood at the junkyard, but it's not that bad. This car doesn't have to be a perfect car. This fender down here has some bubbling starting, unfortunately. The underneath of the car is actually pretty clean for a New England vehicle. It's not bad at all, but that fender does have a little bit of rust. The other side's okay. You can also see there's a little bit of rust in the bottom of this door here, and a little bit of bubbling back here. It's a New England vehicle. The tires, they're pretty much due for replacement. You got some dry rot, the treads are low, and obviously I need that tire on the other side where I have the spare. And I think the fronts are in about the same shape. Yeah, the fronts are pretty much bald as well. So I've got to replace the tires to maximize my resale on this one. I've been thinking about maybe keeping it as a daily over the Fusion or the Sonic. We'll see. I'll drive them all around for a bit and make a decision on that. See, the interior is in pretty good shape overall. I haven't cleaned it or anything. It's the first time I've came out to the car since I got home yesterday. Needs a typical detailing. The steering wheel could use a cover. The material of the steering wheel is obviously worn quite a bit. But the important stuff, the mechanical stuff, is all great. And that's what's more important to me. Cosmetic stuff is easy to take care of. I don't mind doing that kind of work at all. Actually, I haven't even looked in this engine bay since they opened the hood at the auctions. Let's take a quick look. You can see I'm working on the Mercedes over there. We'll know more about that in a future video. Nothing good to say about it, unfortunately. So here's that reliable 4.6 V8. I just pulled the dipsticks out to check them for the first time. The oil is clean. You know, it's due for an oil change soon, but there's nothing bad in there. It's not like it's white or black. Transmission fluid's nice and pink. This was definitely a well-maintained vehicle. I don't see any major leaks, typical residual oil around the valve covers, but it looks like it was a well-maintained car. Might have sat for a bit. There's some cobwebs there. Coolant reservoir is full. Nice Motorcraft battery in there. This could use a good cleaning up, which I'll do. Probably not in this video, but soon. I'll do a separate video when I have the interior and engine bay of this car cleaned up. And obviously when I get a new tire for the back as well. You can see I still have the spare on there. This side's in good shape. There's no rust in that fender. Like I was saying, the doors are clean. There's no bubbling back there. But there is that dent just above the spare tire there. Fortunately, it's accessible through the wheel well. It's not like it's in the trunk area, so I shouldn't have any issue popping that out, doing the best I can at least. Remember, this vehicle is still inspected until June, so If I do decide to sell it, that's a big bonus. The vehicle is still inspected, so Massachusetts buyer will be good until June. You can see the rear is in good shape. The bumper fortunately didn't take any damage when those idiots put that Pathfinder right into it after the auction. It's got a tow package on it. It's pretty much all I can say about the car. Runs great, drives great. Totally unexpected purchase. I had it on my list, like I said, but really didn't think I would get it this cheap. Not a perfect car. I wouldn't say it's one of my craziest steals ever, but there's certainly plenty of profit to be made in this car if I decide to sell it, or it'd make a great daily driver, a reliable daily driver, even at government auctions where they auction off retired police cars and stuff. Crown Vics of this era in the mid-2000s, they usually bring a good amount of money. The older ones go cheap, but even still, usually not this cheap. Usually you're looking at about 800, 1,200 bucks at one of those auctions for a 100,000 mile Crown Vic, you know, former police car or fire chief car, whatever. These 2004s and up usually bring closer to 2. So I'm into this one out the door for 500 bucks. And unlike a government car, it's a lot more loaded up. It's got steering wheel controls, has leather seats, it's got alloy wheels. So I'd rather have an option like this and have a stripped down police car. Obviously there's advantages to having the P71 package, but I am more than happy with this. This car would resell easily for 1,800 bucks if I decide to go that route. If I really cleaned it up, changed the hood or fixed the clear coat, changed that fender out, really made it look nice and pretty, 4 new tires on it, I don't see any reason why this car wouldn't bring $2,200 based on the market that I'm in. But we'll see. The big thing right now is to get some new tires on it. I'm going to change all 4 regardless. These tires are not in safe condition. The treads are very low, they're dry rotted. That's probably why the one in the back blew out. So I'm going to change all 4 tires, get this thing in safer driving condition. By the way, the rear air suspension is functioning perfectly fine. You got to remember the spare tires on that side, so it's going to be a little imbalance. And also the front of the vehicle is down a dip here, while the back is up here. The car sits as it should. Everything works as it should. Just a few cosmetic issues I need to address to make this car perfect. And I'll decide if I'm going to sell it, keep it, whatever. So thanks for watching, guys. Keep an eye out for the next video where I give this a good detailing, get some tires on there, and who knows what else.